On the 20th of November, Tez-Koop-İş Union held a mass press statement in front of İdealtepe File Market, and on the 12th of December, another mass press statement in front of Gaziemir File Market, protesting anti-union pressure and dismissal attacks. Health workers at Private Okmeydanı Hospital continue their picketing after the hospital was shut down and their wage claims and severance payments were not paid. On 19th November, health workers held a press statement in front of Private Istanbul Meva Hospital, owned by the Şafak Group. And on 14th December, they held another press statement in front of Private Okmeydanı Hospital. On 22nd November, KESK held regional rallies in Adana and Samsun, and on 29th November in İzmir, Van and Bursa, under the demand, "We can't make ends meet, a budget for the people, a democratic Turkey." On the 24th of November, workers at the Geyser Slippers factory, who have been subjected to pressure and mobbing for organizing under the Teksif union, stopped work due to the non-payment of their wages for 11 months. On 24th November, teachers who are members of the Tez-Koop-İş union at the private Italian high school held a protest on Teachers' Day against the school administration's uncompromising stance in the collective bargaining process and the imposition of low wages. On the 11th of December, education workers announced through a press statement that they were preparing for a strike, calling for their demands to be met to prevent disruption to education. On 24th November, mine workers organized under the Devmaden Sen Union at Çiftay, a subcontractor of Erdemir Mining under the Oyak Companies Group, started a resistance against the dismissal attack. On 10th December, the workers organized the Divriği Miners' March to protest the planned closure of mining sites and the dismissal of more than 700 workers. On 10th November, Swatch Group workers organized under the Tez-Koop-İş union went on strike after collective bargaining negotiations failed to reach an agreement. The struggle of Swatch workers resulted in a victory on the 27th of November. On the 5th of December, workers from various unions affiliated with DİSK gathered in front of the central bank in İzmir and marched to Sabri Yalın Park, demanding a decent life, not the minimum. On the 6th of October, Şuk Makas workers stopped work to demand their unpaid wages and were dismissed on the 8th of October under Code 22. The workers' resistance continues. As a result of their determined struggle, Code 22 was lifted and the workers became eligible for unemployment benefits. The resistance continues with determination. On the 6th of December, a rally entitled "The Budget Right of Pensioners and Workers" was held at Tandoğan Square, following the call of the Citizens' Unity Platform. Municipal workers in İzmir are taking action against the failure to keep promises, the partial payment of wages, the denial of social rights, won through collective bargaining agreements, and dismissal attacks. On the 8th and 11th of December, workers organized under the Genel İş Union at İzBB companies İzenerji, İzelman, İzfaş, Egeşehir, and İztek staged half-day work stoppages, and on the 9th of December, they held a torchlight march. The workers set up a resistance tent in front of the Bas main gate. On the 8th of December, workers organized under the Belediye İş Union at İzBB companies İzdoğa, İzbeton, and İzulaş held a mass press statement. On the same day, workers of İzmir Buca municipality, organized under Genel İş Union, also began a work stoppage. On the 3rd of December, 16 students who are members of the Workers' Party of Turkey, TİP, were arrested after unfurling a banner reading, "You have children's blood on your hands," at the Turkey Century Technical and Vocational Education Summit, organized by the Ministry of National Education in Istanbul. The arrests, as well as the transformation of MİSEM centers into instruments of child labor exploitation, were protested with mass press statements in many cities. On 4th December, Eğitim Sen's Istanbul branches held a protest in Kadıköy. while Ankara branches made a press statement in front of the Ministry of National Education, demanding close MESEM centers, open vocational schools. On 10th December, pro-labor political parties, trade unions and youth organizations held a protest in Kadıköy. Workers from UİD-DER also took part in the protest. On the 12th of December, Türk Metal Union held press statements in front of MES's headquarters office in Istanbul and its regional offices in Ankara, İzmir and Bursa, after the group collective bargaining agreement negotiations for the 2025 to 2027 period between unions in the metal sector and MES resulted in a deadlock. The Birleşik Metal İş Union also announced its action program for December. On the 13th of December, workers at TÜV-TÜRK vehicle inspection stations, organized under the Nakliyat İş Union, went on strike after the employer refused to participate in collective bargaining negotiations.